That's right, we're staring at a very real possibility that this is the last time we see Twisted Minds for this year, which would be a real shame because you consider the run up until this point and all it ends with is an obituary which reads that they just quite simply did not turn up in those big fixtures that could have settled them a spot in GCC. The road to Istanbul, a long way away. We need 3 of the best maps from them, starting on Lotus. We have not seen either team face each other here, so it's neutral ground in that sense, but Twisted Minds are undefeated this stage.
That's the big thing coming into this one, and it is the defenders' side which they are better at. I mean, you'd expect that, right, with a double Sentinel composition.
Triple.
Triple. There you go. I can't read the agents in the server. That's good for me. Well done, Cairo. But with that being said, it's going to be difficult for GX and what they have to try and approach, because there'll be passive information all over the gaff to pivot into the right positions that they need.
Yeah. And something you immediately have to know is how much deep control Twisted Minds want to take. They've already placed the Sonic sensor on C. It'll force any kind of re-clear from GX to be difficult, but they've got other ideas. On to A they go, Smurfette at the front.
A player who has led the line for year on year and done so successfully. As there's success here with the spike going down. Looks like Smurfette's going to get more, and it's even better with the nade coming back out online. Lane being able to escape on towards site. A right click will work her way, and it seems as Twisted Minds are dividing and conquering, but they don't anticipate Toki being out on main. A tap of the spike. A bait out is what they hope and is what they get. Up to Toki now, the Omen, given an almost chance to HTM. Controller against controller, and it's the player on lesser health that clutches up for GX.
The current duelist passes the torch to the former. A double entry for Smurfette, which brings the nade up, forces Lean into an uncomfortable situation in the site. Then Toki just picks up and finishes off the round. A brilliant one tap to close it, and another pistol for GX in this series. Winning a pistol is a huge thing, of course, but on the attack side here as well,
yeah,
you simply cannot overstate how much that could be worth.
We'll find out later into the series, but I think the big thing about GX is the fact that they have been winning pistol rounds as well, right? They did have success against Twisted Minds before in pistols, but not to this degree.
Yeah. And I think the question begs when we see GX interact with these heavy Sentinel setups from Twisted Minds, do they want to still go for some more direct executions, or do we see this slower game? Because I feel like their macro has been better if you were to pitch the two teams against each other when it comes to playing for that. Twisted Minds will be relying heavily on the utility doing that for them. This isn't one of those rounds, of course, with it being almost the full save.
The spike will go down, and this round has next to no resistance really from Twisted Minds. They've tried, don't get me wrong, but overall GX have what it takes, and it seems that they are well up for the task. Even more utility plans being created in the meantime. This paranoia in towards Waterfall to buy time and deny Classics any opportunity. I think at this point Twisted Minds probably thinking about that spike explosion hazard and would rather not give away any orbs to a GX who have plenty of momentum.
It's Nets who's going to be sent on the hunt here. Smurfette's actually with her. So trading out, putting a couple more ult points in the pockets of the Turkish duelist, moving her just 2 away from the showstopper. Got the plant as well. Everything looking good for Giant X in their anti-eco.
Last player standing.
And I think that's one of the big concerns I have about Twisted Minds here as well. The defender side just has to look good, because when it comes to the attack, the triple Senti actually isn't too bad. We've seen it played by teams before. I think of M80 and challenges in NA, you know, years gone by. We've seen it from a couple in EMEA as well. I can't for the life of me think who exactly.
I know exactly one that kind of feels a little bit superfluous, but Bitfix Gaming when they made their run, you know. So
No, that's true. But I think that the point is, oh, right, sorry, mandatory as well, at least in terms of like the Cypher and the Deadlock, if we want to talk to that ambition. Yeah, it's when you get into these post-plant situations, and sorry to just be talking about the second half so early, I didn't feel like they were getting the most out of their utility, perhaps. And yeah, opening up rounds as well. Like, there are problems there, I think. So obviously we'll address that outside of the opening 12, but for now, it's just about getting as many rounds as you possibly can before it gets to that point.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I got caught off guard a little bit there, Hazza, but yeah, I think that's it, right? And I always like refer to this as this like stat sheet that JT created, the analyst or assistant coach, apologies for gentlemates, that he spoke about. Triple Initiator actually finds a lot of value on the attack, and a lot of what we believe to be true in terms of Double Duelist doing better on attack and Double Sentinel doing better on defense is actually contrary to belief. And I guess that maybe comes through the play style of each team, but you got to think about it from this perspective, that when you get into post, when you get into these positions, a team like Twisted Minds will have massive value when it comes to post-plant utility. And I guess at the other end, when you have Double Duelist, I know we don't have it in the server, but just to talk about it for a second, you have a lot more utility to go and take fights, right? That's the other aspect to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, playstyle is always going to be a factor. Agents are numbers on a sheet as far as teams are concerned. You can play it in any which way you choose. And the point that I wanted to make, and sort of rounding off what I was saying and leaning into what you mentioned there, is that sometimes it feels like the theory maybe wasn't fully applied from Twisted Minds, where they could be then getting those extra percentage points, I think, in terms of their performance when we do swap over. So that's going to be a question to hold on to for a while at least, wondering, have they made the improvements? We heard from G2 the other day in the post-match saying that they felt like Twisted Minds had focused so much of their preparation on winning Corrode, which was the one map they took in the series yesterday. That now makes me wonder, where is the focus in this series? Because did they just assume that they were going to come in and win the second map of Haven, right? And that Bind was a write-off? Yeah. Is there more to be had here in this veto, which we've spoken about a bit, kind of writes itself with Abyss and Corrode at the front end? I know Billy wasn't too happy about it. But yeah, you can plan to that extent for sure.
Yeah, and for me, like, that was the big thing coming into this. I thought the veto, like, first map guaranteed to be GX's, but I did not expect Haven to go the way that it did. As well for Twisted Minds, you've got to be thinking like how many times they've got close but just fell at the last hurdle. That's not just for the GC team. I'm talking the Ascension team as well. As a fighting shoes on 8, this Twisted Minds who come out on top.
Yeah, this is looking a lot better immediately from Twisted Minds. Fighting A early, putting the deadlock barrier up as well and a sensor behind it. Just signposting authority, and when Sarah goes to break one Cypher trap, it's the deadlock sensor which goes off and keeps them at an impasse. With that being said, the B main space is GX's now.
It was, but now they look to head towards C, where there is the Cypher set up.
Yeah, question marks raised. It's a 3 versus 2 here, so if GX were to execute, they'd have the numbers, but this is why we credit so much to this composition that Twisted Minds are playing. The amount of stall and the premiums you have to achieve it are second to none. The wall goes up, there's still a trap waiting behind it. There's that sensor that got placed early on A that they've got to deal with.
30
and
seconds
with the drone
left.
used by Toker on B in the meantime, Twisted Minds have a lot more security in their setup.
I mean, with the weapons that are in play, I don't want to call for a save, but certainly Sarah's rifle being saved into the next wouldn't be the worst position in the world. But you have your economy to try and challenge Twisted Minds, and a gap on B to try and manipulate.
Few seconds spare to get this plant in, and with Nest finding the next, there's a real chance now for GX.
Oh, there certainly is, but just when you get excited, it all comes apart. Spike gets defused by Twisted Minds. The remaining 3, all Sentinels get it done. And that's horrible to listen to.
That's getting really annoying, man.
Yeah.
Wipe the replay, get it sent. I like this from Twisted Minds, though. And to be honest, we've seen them a couple of times bring numbers to either Sand or A lobby, trying to fight for Rubble early. And make sure that they can take those early wins in terms of map material. GX looking to actually recontest this space, but it's a complete change-up of the defensive setup. And this is something we saw from Twisted Minds before, just not happy when something works, forcing it to change, kind of expecting ahead of time that GX are going to make the move themselves.
I like that, being dynamic, not allowing your opponents to adapt. We spoke about this before in terms of GX and their attack, never mind Twisted Minds and their defense. Lean looking to play around the wall. Oh no, you're never expecting that, man.
Spots the head of Ness and takes it clean off. The rest of GX have to go back through this wall. Smurfette's the only one who can leapfrog it, and Lean, caught in the open, could have been taken out, but instead they just empty their pockets, and there's like 3 more walls that you got to get past.
Yeah, this is going to be issue after issue for GX, at least at this point in time. Sarah has been making inroads elsewhere, and that's why Ava right now is trying to commit, or at least show that they're committing towards C. Here. But Sarah being seen on the camera is going to be a disaster for GX's plans.
30 seconds left.
Omen ult used by HTM there as well to just try and reconfirm player positioning on the map, but GX are all over the A site, and Sarah could be the difference.
As if she can get a chance, and well, she'll take it anymore. Doesn't quite find this. We're gonna have to have the res actually committed into this round, and the spike finally left. Being planted. But look how many bodies are here for Twisted Minds.
Yeah, GX, Scorched Earth, they're fighting on the site, but Smurfette has a showstopper.
That's if she gets the chance to use it, and does it. Twisted Minds are absolutely surgical. Sarah from Heaven will get the next pick in the server, but overall, Twisted Minds keep 3 alive once again, and will be able to defuse and win the round.
Perhaps trying to frustrate GX as much as anyone watching with the audibles. The spike is spammed a couple times before it finally finds itself defused. And I like this. Lean has been such a key part of these pushes, these early pushes that we've seen from the defender's side. It was the slow orbs on A in the previous, and just then, the C wall up. It's put GX on a bad buy, and that kind of lent into the point I was making about having a slightly weaker attack side. Because there is no duelist, someone has to mentally take up that role. You were talking about stats and playstyle. Someone still needs to keep that playstyle, and I think we're seeing it from Lean here, at least defensively.
I mean, we spoke about, I think like Alfia did the, sorry, was it Alfia, was it CNED? I can't remember.
Killjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, Alfia on KG. But listen, we'll get back to this in a minute. Let's talk about what is happening in the round with the spike going down and B taken up. Weapons a lot better at close range, and this B site is going to be difficult to try and get back into, considering there's shotguns and stingers.
Yeah, this near site isn't going to do all too much from HTM if Ness is on the angle. But the rest of Twisted Minds are the ones doing the heavy lifting. The showstopper rears its head from Smurfette. HTM still trying to close the gap from the opposite side, but GX are winning all the jewels in sight. It'll drop down to only Lean, and Smurfette will cut her loose. GX restoring the lead.
I mean, a brilliant plan, and it's a simple one. Hey guys, we've got a bad buy, let's go B. And that doesn't just work for Lois, it's happened on Haven. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Wouldn't be the first time, but Sarah being a player who has moved from role to role, she is very much the workhorse of this team at times, so...
Do you know the worst part is, I know that Andy is working at the minute as well. I know he's iconic for it, but he doesn't have all the POVs. So I know Jack Igo is aiding him, so shame on you two.
Conspiring against GX as Smurfette has been plotting the downfall of Twisted Minds for some time. I'll That's not a Cypher cam. Confirmation that the observers are up to no good.
Interesting. And well, Twisted Minds are trying to go and get themselves up to no good as well. Lean turns her back at the wrong time, trying to bait out the possession. It will not work. GX get the next one in the conversation. And look at this. Keep themselves 2 players to the good. Any option is the right option at the minute for GX because all the sites are theirs. And it's just HTM to come into a 1 versus 4.
Yeah. And Toki's not going to give her half a chance at winning this one either. And so GX crack the whip. That's 4 now. The A flank finding value. And you said there, you know, GX have all the sites at their disposal. The reason why it feels like that is this B main control. Again, it's feeling like a real weakness in the map right now, where Twisted Minds are putting so much focus on fighting for those extremities, like I was talking about, through Lean's utility, through Marty getting these deep sensors, the net usage as well, that they're not thinking about the middle of the map. An area which is so important. Usually you see a lot of teams when they're running the Sage here, just place the wall and use it to aid rotations. Yeah. Lean, of course, in front of it is feast or famine.
Well, there's 5 bodies on the A site. Correction, by the way, it isn't Andy who's actually working, it is Sanjaya, so apologies on that.
Oh. Yeah, so it's chronic.
Yeah, it's just
everyone's at it.
I
Crazy.
mean, it's just the Irish. They're obviously just a little bit. All the people working in Striker, maybe a little bit cynical when it comes to these sort of things. But 5 bodies on the site, ready to fight. That is a good net, and it could get even better. Annihilation in, and it's got the player that they're looking for. A 2 versus 4, and well, GX have a lot to try and fight back into this. It has to be Ava, and she does not have what it takes. A thrifty round, straight back in.
Yeah, what a response as well. The utility usage is really nice from Twisted Minds. They set this precedent that they want to be flooding rubble early. And with that condition, GX wait, they enter the site and then just get hit across the jaw by a combination of both the net, the reveal from Toka's exceptional. Shots hit, ult up, and GX forced to take unfavorable engagement.
Well, Lean has the operator up, and well, there is no escape for the op. We know for a fact that Lean doesn't really need many second chances in the operator duel. Where is Toki off to?
I'm not sure if Marty's heard this. I believe she was just at the edge of the audible range, so having a look, it's Toka that will find Toki, though.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And now GX, the team, not the player that they eliminated yesterday, is off to the C site.
Out of charges.
Yeah, the C site, which had plenty of Cypher utility, now it's just the one trap that is towards the back of site. Marty finding Smurfette before it was hit. And now a 3 versus 5 in which GX have to try and clutch up. And there's still ultimates, there's still plenty to be chucked at this attack that still haven't got the spike down.
Bring them down.
But the pit has stayed up in the meantime, and Eva has the security of it between her as a blockade to get the spike planted. It is a 5 versus 3. Twisted Minds even have the res if they need it, but it's this pit that is doing everything.
Yeah, plenty of delay. That Molly would have found value, but Sarah doesn't even know what she's missed out on. The spam working out for Ava, the health starting to tick down, and it's up to these rifles to find it. Up to Ness! Good for a clutch before, but won't be able to do it this time. I can't believe I'll say it, but we're back all even once again.
Yeah, felt like GX were sneaking away with the lead there, but Twisted Minds have responded in kind. It's a nice idea from Toki, but you just wondered what the direction was, really. There was no second layer to it. It was more of an individual move. Sarah keeps the pit up long enough for it to thin out some of those HP bars, but the shots don't quite connect, and with that, not only are we level, but GX have been brought down to a bad buy. That being said, Smurfette still has a rifle hot in her hands. 9 and 5 as it stands.
One off of the showstopper that wasn't used too long ago, if you remember right. It's Lean though, who will find Ness. So no more Vice utility, no more of that extra delay that they'd be looking for.
And it's Twisted Minds now starting to overrun such a key area of the map that we mentioned earlier. Lean has the safety net of her own utility, and GX just can't flood through this slow. They are walking into trouble. Lean has picked up 3 from the operator now.
Yeah.
And she will find a 4th just on the edge of the wall before it concludes flawlessly.
I think overall what that is from Twisted Minds is knowing the priority of GX from the last time they were on a thrifty round was to just bunker down the B side. That's really know that when they get up close and in the oh my god, I can't
Personal,
even speak.
perhaps?
Yeah, thank you, mate. It's good that someone can speak English in this cast, because I certainly can't. But the point being is that they just prioritise that B side. So
yeah.
Twisted Minds, they bunker down with the Sage utility, make it an issue, and GX can't bust through.
I think something else to note as well is the fact that it is an operator rather than just rifle play, because we know that Lean is partial to it, and similarly to the way that a lot of compositions you see before function, where your duelist is playing over a Sentinel setup, she really has her choice of the bunch, right? It means that when GX are defaulting against this triple Senti, maybe you have a plan in mind. It's like, okay, we want to take control, whether it's B main or Sand, for example, you're aiming to break the Cypher utility. That's your kind of first port of call, and a lot of that is Smurfette's util as well, because you don't have a Sova, but you're contacting. And when you're contacting into the op, you're only going to have problems. So you're kind of seeing this picture that I'm building step by step. There are just more and more problems, more objectives that GX need to counter in every single round. So much value delivered there, but this is the rifle and GX's opportunity to claw themselves back level again.
Couple shots being fired off. Warning shots overall, nothing really connecting, but I mean this pace could explode. The problem for GX is getting through the Cypher utility, which they start to work on. Really just the cam left and demanding the attention of Twisted Minds defense at the minute.
And starting to lay the foundations for a potential execute, but Lean is gonna cut the bottom of the tree on the GX side. And bit by bit, they start to collapse. The main control taken. Sarah slipping into position, has rectified the wrongs, but still trailing by a player.
There's a neural theft for getting information on all remaining players for the attack. This post-plant now known about. Twisted Minds know what they need to do.
Eva repossessing the smoke, but the barrel is spotted as her judgment is clouded. It's a clear-cut win for Twisted Minds on the B retake. Toka with 2, as she so often does. And the lead begins to grow for the defensive side.
It doesn't get any better, does it? I mean, typically when we see Twisted Minds on this defense, their natural win rate is 8 rounds. That's the general trend. So for GX to even get 1 and break that trend would be absolutely massive for them. Problem being, is that at this moment, right now, I don't think it looks like they've got the goods to do it, because Twisted Minds have just adapted to what the attack of GX want to do.
4 of the last 6 best of 3s that Twisted Minds played went to a decider. Those all, of course, though, best of 3s. We were guaranteed a triage of maps here at the very least.
Toxin screen down.
But they're the ones put under the spotlight for an extension of play. GX peaking early on Lotus, but with a couple of opportunities left to bag themselves an additional round and a couple of ultimates here in this half-buy, managed to get so far as to tree without running into any trouble or Lean's operator, which is conveniently on the other side of the map.
Looks like Steel Garden is the ultimate to buy their way in towards this, but still taking their time, slow rolling in towards site. That camera gaining key information, needed to use utility off the back of it.
Ooh.
Still... Oh.
Yeah, because GX are getting into post here, still with a Steel Garden available, it just means they can strengthen it even more, and it comes in a moment too late.
It seems like a moment too late, but Sarah and Ness are able to gain the advantage needed. And the problem is, Lean has to try and clear this site with an operator, leaving HTM in a difficult position, but that raise could be pivotal. The timing by Ava isn't good whatsoever. She just misses out. A good seize, grabs HTM, and now it's just the operator up against the rifle. Lean against Ava, and the wraparound is perfect. I said it looked like GX couldn't win a round, and then they go and get a Red Bull clutch.
Class is in session, and Ava is teaching a couple of lessons to the Twisted Minds players. This was a fantastic seize, followed by the horn, and the instant wraparound to win the clutch. But the headline, I think, still remains to be the fact that GX were able to contact all the way into the site, Twisted Minds not playing off of their utility, allowing that Steel Garden to get value even after the first couple of kills. What a turnaround. One last chance, but Twisted Minds are taking it.
If they could get 6-6, this would be unbelievable. Remember, there's still one player not found. Oh, Ava and Ness trying to swing through. Toki as well. It will end up being 7-5. A very quick finish to the 12th round of the first half.
Yeah, Giant X maybe rushing things a little bit there to get themselves level going into the half-time, but 7-5 is how things will conclude. Twisted Minds in front, as they were on Haven, but we all know how that one ended, and to be honest, who knows where this one could be off to. We'll find out after the break. Welcome back to the second half, where Twisted Minds are fighting for survival. A 2-round buffer secured between them and Giant X at the conclusion of their defender's side, but it's onto the attack with this triple sentinel where we have seen trouble in the past, that things simply have to stick or they will be going home rather than a homecoming to Istanbul.
Couple of pings towards A there as well. I know there's bodies lined out outside of A, but it seems like they want to go all the way through to heaven, so keep your eye on that.
Early nade prepared. The pin pulled from Smurfette, and the only one to bypass it is HTM. Out on a bit of an island, but when the utility comes back through, it's clean. Toka setting up the rest of her teammates. Twisted Minds have access to A. And when we take stock of the Sentinel utility remaining, there should be just enough to stop GX from getting back in.
Yeah, this 100% should be no way back in for GX. Locked out without a key, but is there a chance to try and break in through brute force?
HTM did go wandering in the pit, but won't find herself swallowed up this time. It's going to be Toki that falls instead, and Sarah, peering through the gap in the wall, is tethered to the floor, snared by the ankle. And Ness needs 3 more if she's to win this one. You thought for a moment Lean may have given a gift, but it's the sweet release of death instead. Twisted Minds with a 3-round advantage now.
It continues to look to grow for the attack. And that says now 4 pistols to 2 in favour of GX after Twisted Minds winning that. Just to keep your eye on it, keep the counter ticking. And that's probably why we see GX so far ahead in terms of the map count, but certainly not the score count at the moment.
Nah. And something we had been speaking about earlier in the day, for those perhaps just tuning in, is that everyone on GX has been performing, but that floor is lowered here a little bit against Twisted Minds comp, which is off-branch, off-piste. Not something that you see all too often, but at the same time, GX should have been preparing for this matchup specifically. We did get that one comp deviation on the bind, but this is what you expect. Now, do Twisted Minds expect 5 players with classics? A smoke in the face suggests that it maybe won't be as much of a problem as you had thought.
I mean, the wall's got them further forwards. HTM does get a couple in our favour, but a lot of lead as well. So with that, and seeing plenty of bodies, it will be towards C that the rest of Twisted Minds will go. Not wanting to chance this whatsoever.
No. And now you're looking at what win cons can they start to build towards. One of them would be Marty. Spike plant goes in. That's her one off the ultimate. And in this position, well, they do have a double stack, so best not to interrupt it. Otherwise, you would say, give her the pistol and let her hunt. If she dies, she gets the ult point to a GX player, that is. And if she finds a kill, then of course, that would be the preference.
Does whether GX even want to try and give this away?
No. And you wouldn't, because they're going to be looking at the scoreboard right now and they would see that Marty is one off.
Oh, it's all going to go down in a brawl. A fight in which Twisted Minds are able to just get out the other side of. At this moment in time, it will be one step closer to what is eventually going to have to be a reverse sweep and a best of 5 for Twisted Minds to get to Istanbul, to be in with a chance of winning this full split, to get to Korea, right? That's the big thing at the end of the day. GCC is the objective, and for Twisted Minds, it is a long way to get there. But hey, listen, this is within their own hands just now.
Yep, and it's important that you raise that, because this map, Lotus, is the last of GX's map picks, and the last of the maps where we come in with little to no expectation as to how exactly it pans out, where there is a little bit more favorability for them perhaps coming off of the bind result earlier. Sunset and then Ascent up next in the veto have both been won by Twisted Minds against GX this stage. So that's what you're up against. Very quickly, the narrative can shift. His bonus is part and parcel of that.
Haven was also one against GX and Twisted Minds. Oh, the timing.
Toki.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
My territory, my room. Really,
and it seems as if there's going to be another unfortunate case on the C site as Ness is caught out as well.
Yeah. And Sarah can do nothing but watch the body of her teammate dragged to a miserable end. Revealed, caught in the corner, and Twisted Minds have done everything that was asked of them. They've opened up the round, and even if, I don't know, say for whatever reason, hypothetically we're in a 3v3, there's util up in the site. They're playing a post plant. I'm seeing all of the right improvements that just weren't here with this team before.
I think it's interesting that we have ended up on this map through GX's choice, not through Twisted Minds, right? For those at home wondering how the veto went. I mean, I guess you can tell just by looking at the logo on the top left, but the point that I'm getting to is that this does not look like a GX pick. This looks like this will be Twisted Minds to elongate this best of 5 for at least one more map.
Look, make no mistake about it. We are here on GX's behalf through familiarity rather than favorability. Yeah. When you consider what their strong suits are, when you look at the map veto process for them. The only other map that I think you're going to have some confidence in, as Toki here gets timing, which begins a chain of unfortunate events, is Ascent. Right? Since Smurfette has come back in, we always know Ascent's been a great map for her. That's map 5. What kind of mental state are you in at the end of the gauntlet? Twisted Minds are in for a resurgence here. if GX can't find a way to contain it here and now. So it's the second timeout used, a 5-round gap. Twisted Minds only need 3 to close. They've already got 3 so far in this half.
And usually what we see from GX when there is a timeout is there is some sort of resurgence, right? We've seen them have value. Whether that is enough to bring themselves back into Lotus and send their team all the way to Istanbul, that's another thing entirely. But for Twisted Minds, for them, I mean, it's just got to keep on swimming. The Dory, I guess the Dory mentality, right?
You got to find a better person to quote than Dory, but I do agree with you, right? It's one step at a time, and for Twisted Minds, even here as well, with them being one of the 2 of our top 3 teams that are on boot camp, that comeback is easier to achieve when you have the in-person environment, when your teammates are side by side with one another. GX trying to dump the util on A early, take the rubble control they were looking for, and they have achieved it. Both anchors towards C, prepared for a Twisted Minds execution, but the attack side has been tempered with how they end.
I like that Ness is keeping the utility in her pocket as well, that she can use when she needs to try and delay, and she'll need it right now as there is 5 bodies outside of C.
And with the door opened up, still the threat of a B pivot for the Orchids. It's an empty one as things stand. All 5 players on their feet in sand. GX yet to call the rotation, just fearful of the possibility. But it's rounds like this sometimes where you've got to make a gamble. Ness out in the open. Sheriff fires away for just one. And ultimately needed more. It's Sarah to step up next. And she has found what she was looking for. Numbers for GX.
Yeah, and able to dip back into cover, but how do you get the players behind the deadlock wall onto the site to help Sarah?
There's a little utility up to stop this. GX are starting to encircle. Maybe they can smell blood in the water, but maybe it's pouring out of their own wounds. They've washed away the blood, but they can't seal the issue at its root. Eva has found the first of the kills, but it has to be clean headshots from here on out. She's going to get another. But Toka brings us back to reality. 11-5. And Twisted Minds are on the golden road.
Close to getting to 13. That's the most important here. The Sheriffs hitting when they need to and doing damage towards the Twisted Minds economy. Unfortunately not able to convert all the way to the end. And that's the most important thing at the moment for Giant X. It's not damage, it's all about the round win. So they bring out the rifles once more. There's some ultimates in play. And you look towards this, there's many bodies outside of C.
It's the adaptation from GX. Twisted Minds have so heavily conditioned the idea that they want to take sand control and play through that rather than A. But this reshuffling of the defenders by GX has left a gap for the lurkers, both HTM and Lexa, to spread their feet and get out into grass. But the stall on A is looking pretty good for GX, so actually they find themselves in a favorable position, at least at the start of the round.
Still in sight.
Still trying to force their way through is Twisted Minds, but the delay continues to work out. The Vice here as well. This isn't fully out of troubled waters for Twisted Minds just yet. And if they try to go elsewhere, I worry as well. But that's a big spam.
That's the Viper gone. A chance maybe for them to head A, but you have to look at the detached Lexa playing through B main, picking up Toki. Smurfette quick on the trade through the door. Left behind is HTM, the in-game leader, calling the rest of her team forward as this Odin prowls on the back line and finds Ness in the back of her head.
Yeah, that's it.
Ava left scratching hers as this one is done.
Yeah, it's a frustrating one for Giant X. You felt as if the round, the way it's moving, is one that provides some, I guess, profit, right? Dividends in the end. The utility expended looks to be good, but Twisted Minds, this attack side, yeah, is looking pretty solid so far.
You have to commend GX trying to use a set piece to force Twisted Minds into an uncomfortable spot, but the real praise to be had is for this attack side and how many of these slower paced rounds have not bent nor broken at the whim of GX and what it is exactly they want to try and set up. HGM looking to sniff out Eva here and remove the last of the rifles, as not a single player has any more than 500 credits coming into the last. It's whatever they could possibly force up to try and keep this one going a little longer.
Frustrating is the word on the lips of the GX players. But with that being said, is there got to be any sort of comeback to be built upon? It would come through ultimates, it would come through breaking the economy of the attack, but we're a long way away from that. I mean, you need to find some sort of success first to even be in that conversation. So you can't help but feel this is Twisted Minds on the victory march as they get all 5 players outside of C.
And just going back now to what was working for them previously, GX have also resorted to their initial setup. Smurfette and Eva burning through precious utility to start the round. Same can be said for GX on this C hold because it's been dealt with quite nicely, weakening by the second. As Twisted Minds are setting themselves up to finish off Lotus.
Still that delay coming through at the perfect time. And you can see Toki and Smurfette have not moved an inch from their double stack on A.
And GX are just not willing to gamble on this C site any heavier than they previously have. Smurfette finally making a move, but that's just as Twisted Minds look to send it. Blocked by the Steel Garden. It's going to have to finish on B. A real plan B here.
Yeah, and showstopper to deny them getting out. The time is getting lower and lower. Twisted Minds need to make an incision soon, or GX have the round win.
2 ultimates invested to stop them dead. It's got to be Smurfette, and she's racked up 2. Toka's still in play, but as is Toki. That's the spike dropped at the back of the pack. So no plant coming in, and no chance for Marty to salvage anything here either. Still some distance between the 2 teams, but GX will prolong play.
Yeah, well played from them. I mean, that is a well-called round in terms of just the decisions made, when to invest ultimates. Again, the utility layering that we're seeing that's creating these big delay portions. It is exactly what GX need to do. There is no gap close for Twisted Minds. There's no jet, there's no dash, there's no blast packs. So if GX can continue to do that and contain Twisted Minds, then they'll be in a good position.
This defender side's really where GX have struggled so much previously. Last time out, lost all 6 of them against Blackhand. HTM could be in for a killing. She cashes out early though, it's just Smurfette. But still a 4v3, which could quickly become a 4v2. It has to be Eva, it has to be now. She's standing her ground and stopping the transition, cutting the rotate, down where it stands. The next would have been Toka, but she's short of the mark. Ness set up with info, but that's about it.
That was a spike carrier as well. Now they can make their inroads towards A, but unless Ness has something to say about it.
One enemy remaining.
Ness gets the freebie. HTM not looking. Profiting from the same curse that went against Smurfette earlier. And now a 1v1. Toka with the most playoff clutches so far, but she won't find another here. Ness to end it in round number 19 and keep GX alive for one more.
Clutch.
One round at a time. That's all you need to do if you're GX. And that round won through no ultimates invested as well. Is a big one. A Red Bull clutch for Ness.
Yeah.
And
a 4 versus 2 Cairo as well. So definitely a mental boom perhaps for Twisted Minds, especially if they lose here. Money is starting to wear thin. So you call it a swing round if it didn't win them the map, I think.
Yeah, 100%. need to keep GX need to keep Twisted Minds a little bit at arm's length, and it's not going to happen here. It's once again Twisted Minds in the early engagements come out on top, and that res makes things even worse. All the ultimates being used by both sides here. And unfortunately,
all of the info that Ava's able to pick up, she knows they're pushing site.
Well, she's going to get a big load of lead in the face. It's up to Sarah now. She has been good before, but it will not work out. We will get 13. We will get a Lotus win for Twisted Minds.
And in only 20 rounds for them to take it. 13-7. The attack side looking secure as anything. The necessary improvements as they start to plot course onto a potential comeback, a reverse sweep in the best of 5. And as we were mentioning earlier, the 2 remaining maps, both Sunset and Ascent, they have the positive track record against GX this stage. The ball is in their court, or some would say.
Yeah, I mean, that's the same story for Haven and other maps that's been played in previous. But with that, I think that Sunset will be a lot closer than people think. 13-11 the last time these two played. So there's always that conversation to be had about who's actually going to win it.
For sure. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. For now, it's Lotus going in favor of Twisted Minds as they so desperately needed it to stay alive in this series and stoke the embers of their Istanbul run. We're going to pick up after the break with Sunset, so don't go anywhere.